Hi, people. The other day we would have heard about this bank tax grab. Government want to charge 5 cents for every $100 that people have in the bank to cover the $250,000 government guarantee on bank deposits. Apparently, looks like we might have what's to say here why the RBA will cut rates. It could be an interest rate cut. So for people who have money in the bank, that means that they're going to get less interest if there's an interest rate cut. Might be good for the housing market. Might put a few people in to buy houses, but I don't think it'll do anything much for anybody else. Economy. There's that many people losing their jobs through the mining industry and the construction industry, retail. That there's no people to buy any manufactured goods anyway. Well, getting a few down anyway. But anyway, so that's just another tax on everybody. The taxpayers. This $250,000 bank guarantee is guaranteed by the government, which the taxpayer will pay if one of these banking institutions goes down the gurgler. But I think here in Australia now, the government's getting very concerned about the global financial situation, the global finance crisis we had, or we're still having. Back it started in 2008, somewhere around there, 2008, 2009, and it hasn't gone away. It's getting worse. The government knows this. That's why I think they're trying to cover their backsides. But this all comes from the IMF anyway. But ultimately, at the end of the day, us taxpayers pay for it. All the money the government's got's our money anyway, apart from the stuff they borrow. But anyway, and today they're going to give $450 million to after hours school care for childcare, and $200 million to the car manufacturers here in Australia. Now, as far as the car manufacturers are concerned, we're flogging a dead horse. Ultimately, they're all going to pull out of Australia because it's just too expensive. I've mentioned before, we're overpricing ourselves. It's too expensive for them to manufacture in this country because they can go and get stuff done in China or Korea or any third world country for peanuts and ship it back in here. I mentioned about Mazda when they pulled out of this country. Just said, no, we don't want any subsidies. It's too expensive. We're pulling out. The year after they pulled out, or last year I think it was, Mazda was the biggest selling car in Australia, imported back in here into Australia. So, read between the lines. The government are as thick as bricks. They know this, but it's all about, especially now with an election coming up, it's all about votes. If they can't manufacture in this country, if they're losing money, okay, let them go and we'll take over their factories and build our own cars. We have this big, huge oil deposit that's sitting in Coober Pedy. I mentioned in a video earlier, a month ago, about this deposit, and that's where we should be putting our money. We should take a 51% interest in it, keep the money here, keep the oil here, whatever we do with the rest of it, sell it off, but we get heaps of revenue for the country, tax revenue, plus royalties and all this sort of stuff if we own 51% of it. But if we build our own cars, we could be filling them up for 20 cents a litre with all this oil we've got, or whatever it is. Saudi Arabia, I saw a video one time on YouTube, and they were talking about how hot it is over there. Because of oil, they've got so much oil, people go to work, they leave the air conditioners, they leave the car idling all day. Not a problem. So when they come out, because it's not costing them anything for fuel, or hardly anything. Whether it's a true story or not, who knows. But anyway. And as far as the 450 million for aftercare child care, women that have children and want to work, that's their choice. They choose to have a child and they choose to work. Why should the taxpayer subsidise it? Why should us taxpayers subsidise women that want to have children but want to stay in the workforce? The reason why, and in a lot of videos I say, look at all sides, look at the big picture, if you can see that far. The trouble is most of us are wearing blinkers and can't see past what's in front of us. I would say the main reason why the government want to heavily subsidise childcare is to keep the woman in the workforce to collect their tax money, revenue for the government. Now, if you work out how many working mothers are in the workforce, and there's 450 million that they're going to give them, I don't know how much they give them now, they're going to give them an extra 450 million. I would suggest that that's a pittance to what they actually collect in tax revenue from working mothers. It's something to think about. Well, that's about all I've got to talk about tonight. But there's an election coming up, things are hotting up. So, be interesting times. Be interesting to see what happens if the RBA cut interest rates. But I think cutting interest rates is not a real good thing any time. You only have to look at what's happening in America. They've got a zero interest rate as far as the Federal Reserve Bank is concerned, so that institutions can borrow off them at 0% and do what they want to do with the money. But in a lot of cases in America, they're not loaning it out. They're not loaning it out to people that want to start businesses or to manufacturing or anything like that, because this is half the reason why there's no jobs being created. But people are thinking, well, why bother? Because all the stuff is just coming into the country that's coming in from China, which is cheap. But, if there's that much unemployment, who's going to buy it? People are battling. So interest rates, I think that's what's happening. We're just slowly going down the same path as America, just get lower and lower and lower and lower. And shortly, if it keeps going like this, anybody that's got money in the bank is going to start charging you for them to look after your money. So you'll be paying them. Basically, this is what this 5 cents is. Guarantee you 250,000 if you're lucky enough to have 250,000 sitting in the bank. Anyway, that's me out tonight. Catch you people.